So here's a new announcement when it comes to Avalanche. Did you know that Animoca Brands recently had a partnership with Ava Labs? Now, nothing I say is financial advice, but Ava Labs is basically the company that's dedicated towards Avalanche, if I were to even want to put it that way. And here's the thing. Animoca, again, recently had a partnership with Ava Labs. So if anything, I think this could maybe indirectly affect Avalanche in maybe a good way moving forward, because we have to consider Animoca Brands, one of their subsidiaries is something called Sandbox. And keep in mind, Sandbox, I get it. A lot of people like to say that as a metaverse, it's no longer popular and all this, but it's still one of the most popular within its own niche, right? So I do find this to be pretty interesting. Not to mention, if we take a look at Animoca, they're pretty massive as a company. Did you know that their peak valuation at one point was around 6 billion almost, right? And that was like back in 2022. Now, probably I don't know if it's the same right now, but at the same time, that seems pretty impressive in my opinion, even seeing something like that when it comes to Animoca and just kind of the presence that I think they have. Maybe Animoca sees something when it comes to Ava Labs. Maybe they see something when it comes to Avalanche, because, or not, why would they do this? And I think this right here, it kind of showcases how a lot of these institutions and these big companies and all this type of stuff are beginning to care, I think, to a certain extent when it comes to Avalanche. Keep in mind, there's literally 2 Avalanche ETFs on NASDAQ. And I'm not joking, by the way. Take a look at VanEck's Avalanche ETF and take a look at Grayscale's Avalanche ETF. So when it comes to Avalanche, it's pretty impressive, I think, seeing kind of the things surrounding it happen for it so far. So on top of those NASDAQ ETFs that we've seen, we also now see something like Animoca even have a partnership when it comes to Ava Labs. So at the end of the day, I mean, I don't think Avalanche is such a bad layer on blockchain, because if it was, how would all this type of stuff be possible? That's just the way to take a look at it. Now, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but when it comes to Avalanche as of right now, the kind of main, I guess, argument is that it's never going to become, quote unquote, as popular as Solana or Ethereum or, let's say, the BNB chain, which it may never, right? Who knows? I mean, could it ever become more popular than Cardano? Again, maybe not, but does it need to? No, I don't think so. I mean, I still already think it's really impressive, actually. However, furthermore, when it comes to AVAX, which is Avalanche's native token, I guess a lot of people like to tell me that it's still below $10. Why isn't all this type of stuff doing anything when it comes to AVAX, right? They tell me, oh, take a look at the ETFs on NASDAQ. Take a look at this partnership that Animoca just recently had when it comes to Ava Labs. Why is it not doing anything when it comes to AVAX? Well, my response is that Avalanche could literally have a partnership with like whoever, right? Justin Bieber, I don't know, right? Whatever the case may be, it still really wouldn't do anything, I think, to the charts of AVAX if the sentiment when it comes to the market doesn't change. In a sense where all this type of stuff may not necessarily affect the charts right now, but it could affect it later. But if anything, my kind of mindset is this. I'm seeing Avalanche, in my opinion, fundamentally, I feel like become better. However, the fascinating thing for me is that AVAX was actually more expensive before. It actually became cheaper right now, but the fundamentals, I feel like when it comes to Avalanche, became better, which, that kind of concept sometimes is not really something we think of in real life, right? Because usually in real life, if things become better, in some cases, they become more expensive. But in this space, I just literally saw a project become better, arguably, right? But then it became cheaper, in which case, that's just kind of how the space goes sometimes, right? A project could keep fundamentally improving, but the charts sometimes they go low if the sentiment isn't the best. But is that a concern for me though? No, because I'm looking to accumulate. I am looking to dollar cost average, but I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But furthermore, if I take a look at it, AVAX back in December of 2024, so slightly over a year ago, it was around $52. So it's actually over 5 times more than what we see of when it comes to AVAX as of right now. So basically, again, we're over 5 times lower when compared to where we were just slightly over a year ago, which may not sound like a good thing. But I'm not looking to exit. I'm literally looking to dollar cost average. So if I'm able to hypothetically dollar cost average at a lower point than before, yet the project I feel like became better, and at the same time, I also feel like I haven't given up when it comes to the project and I still like it, yeah, I mean, why would I complain for that reason? I mean, would I complain if there's a discount at Costco? The answer is no, but this is just my mindset. However, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, and I'm not only just holding AVAX, by the way, right? I hold other projects as well, but I'm saying if I feel like AVAX had this big pullback, yet I don't feel like the fundamentals became worse. If anything, I think the fundamentals became better, then I'm not going to complain. If let's say AVAX could just go back to December of 2024 levels, I mean, at that point, I'm going to Brazil and Ecuador. That's kind of my mindset, right? Because I don't even need a hypothetical altcoin season anymore if AVAX could just go back to that point. Now, would it be able to and could it? Only time will tell. I mean, I can't control this, but at the same time, AVAX goes back to around $50. Brazil and Ecuador, here I come. That's the way you take a look at it. So when it comes to something like Avalanche, I don't really view it as a bad layer on blockchain. I just think it's a project that got caught up with the sentiment not being the best, and then we see AVAX going down in terms of the charts. But I don't think it's necessarily quote unquote game over because sure, things could have a pullback, but sometimes we've seen recoveries in the past. When will the recovery be exactly? I have no control over that, but could it do it this time around? I mean, again, only time will tell, but it wouldn't necessarily surprise me. Keep in mind, AVAX has around 160,000 holders. Like, that's pretty impressive. Like, even with AVAX being below $10, we're still seeing around 160,000 holders. So, still holding up pretty good. And AVAX is currently ranked 22nd in the world in terms of market cap within this space. That's pretty impressive. I mean, again, any project in the top 50, basically, I just have a hard time believing they'll randomly become irrelevant if, let's say, there's a change in sentiment. Because some people like to tell me that, oh, if the market recovers, AVAX is going to get forgotten about. But I don't really have that mindset, though, because, first of all, it's currently the 22nd in the world within this space as of right now, again, in terms of market cap, and it has around 160,000 holders. If a project that's ranked like 628th or even a 200th ranked project or whatever, right? If those projects can make it, why can't like literally the 22nd in the world make it? If they can as well. Like if let's say a 638th or whatever ranked project could make it, why can't this one, which is ranked way higher and has a really good amount of holders? So yeah, I just don't know why I would ever assume that AVAX would randomly become irrelevant like that. I just don't have that mindset. So kind of my mindset is quite simple, I think, when it comes to this, because AVAX goes back to around $50. I'm already happy, but of course I'd be happier if there was a altcoin season, but I don't really need it to be happy either just because AVAX is so low. Now, had AVAX only had a pullback to like $30 or $40, let's say it held up just a lot better than what we see as of right now. If let's say it goes from $40 back to around $50, that's boring. Like, I don't care about that really in the grand scheme of things. But if like we're below $10 and maybe it could go back to around 50, which we literally saw that like slightly over a year ago, it's not like we've never seen it ever before, right? If it could just go back to that, I'd already be like very excited, I suppose, but we'll wait and see. I mean, 50 and beyond when it comes to what AVAX could ever do moving forward, if it could even go to those ranges, I'm already, again, pretty happy at that point. But yeah, this is the way to take a look at it. I just kind of feel like things have had such a major pullback to the point that I don't even need a hypothetical altcoin season anymore at this point to be happy, just because if things could go back to those previous levels from where they are as of right now, I'm pretty, again, happy to see that. Because the way to take a look at it is this. If we consider AVAX, its all-time low is like almost $3, right? So now being at around $9, keep in mind, like AVAX has been around for years, right? And we're just like, over 3 times higher basically than its all-time low. Like that's kind of close to, I guess, that level, if I even want to put it that way, for a project that's been around for years like that and still just being around, I guess, over 3 times more than its all-time low. Again, I feel like, okay, maybe sure. Some people like to say AVAX could have a bigger pullback. Who knows? But if it were to do that, I feel like even as of right now, it doesn't change the fact that we're still over 5 times lower than $50. So again, I am just dollar cost averaging once a month though, but I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, I'll be sure to make more updates when it comes to this if there are any, so hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. However, I also want to say thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain, and I'm out. Peace. Bye.